Forgot to do that last week. So welcome everybody. Going to cover quite a bit of ground tonight. Still setting up. But there's certain things we need to be concentrating on. What is it? A couple months out? Not even. I I had a long meeting with the Deputy Postmaster General today on legislative issues. What we're looking for, the PMG is confirmed. He'll be there on Monday to talk to us. And Doug just wanted to go over, what we're looking for, what we think we'll be bringing forward. Nothing that we're going to have short of the Title 39 reform they have any problems with. I don't know that they'll come out in favor of any of it, but if they get a call, they'll say we're neutral on it, which is tantamount to the same thing. It was a pretty good meeting. Most of headquarters is our cachet is pretty good. We've raised the brand, the professionalism with which we interact with the Postal Service is paying dividends. I did get some intel. Chris, this is good for you. Apparently, there's 2 nominations in the hopper for the Board of Governors. I don't know how official that is, but it's not like we're starting from, behind the 8 ball. There's actually a they're just waiting for the right time. I don't know why these things take so much time, but that's something we'll be talking about. If it hasn't happened by the time we get up there. And I've been asked for a while, but I get asked for endorsements for people to be nominated, and I never do. I say, go ahead and get the nomination first, and then we'll look at your qualifications, and we'll proffer a recommendation at that point. Having said that, with our friends in the Senate, and we have lots of them, it'd be really nice if we could get it unanimous consent like we did with the PRC. So that's a development today that's new. It was news to me when he told me about it, but he seemed like it should have been. I should have known it already. So right now I'm going to hand it over to Patrick. Patrick has the agenda for the day on Monday. Sunday night we're going to do a PAC event, but then Monday we're going to be in the room all day. I was talking to the event planners, to Crisp Events, exactly how the logistic goes, how we're going to set the room up. So Patrick, take it away.
All right. Well, obviously the big fish in the room is going to be the PMG. Mr. DeJoy will be there. Is confirmed to be there. So anytime we have the opportunity to have FaceTime with him is always beneficial to the organization and the members. So plan on that. Let your members know if anybody's on the fence. It's a good opportunity to maybe sell them on the trip. We'll be having Tammy Hull from the OIG. We've heard her speak before. Very insightful. I don't know how many of those of you get the subscriptions to actually read some of the audits and stuff. So it's pretty fascinating stuff. So I'm looking forward to hearing from her. Peter Pastor, he's always very enlightening. The government relations, vice president of government relations and public policy. So that one's he's come out every year, and he's kind of lively and entertaining. So we always like hearing from him. And it looks like we have Jerry Connolly, who does have HR 95 going forward, working on the Merit Service Protections Systems Protection Board. So Connolly's always been a big friend of us and put a lot of stuff forward and helped move a lot of our bills forward in the past. So we really look forward to having him. And I know we'll have some PAC events, and Edmund also shared with me the some of the one page that we're working on. So if you want to write down some of the bills right now, and you can, as you're reaching out to your folks, HR 82, obviously we know, Senate 597, that written down, and then HR 4260, Neil's bill, and 5432 for Arrington. And I believe we have they can speak to that. I think we have some meetings set up with Arrington coming up. So we're looking forward to that. So if anybody who's got those in their districts, please make sure that you are setting those meetings up and and getting those taken care of, with thanking them for sponsoring those bills and getting the support we can. And I know we talked about, so HR 595 will be coming up. That's the Merit Systems Protection Board. And then we're also, I don't see the numbers on it, but for the Title 39, I know we're working on, Connolly is working on one of those, isn't he, Edmund?
Yeah, so 594 or 596, I forget which one it is. They have binding arbitration in there. That's the NAPS bill. So our bill, when we introduce it, will not have binding arbitration locked in. If we want binding arbitration, we just should declare ourselves a craft and get a contract. So I don't know that any of those bills go anywhere. The discussion I had with Doug today was pretty much, we just want to start a conversation on, Title 39 was written in 1972. It needs to be updated somewhat. The biggest change for us would be the fact that we wouldn't ever be able to be without a pay package. Right now, we're without one. Our pay package expired in May, the same time as NELC, but we can't negotiate or consult on a new one until after they ratify. So the language in that part of the bill will actually say we would go 90 days before it expires. We would start the clock on getting a new pay package, so we should not be without one. And then 18 months later, or whatever, when they finally ratify, we do it again. The service isn't real happy about that, for having to do stuff and go back and do it again. But I think the mechanism then would be you just go back and tweak stuff, small course corrections instead of big ones. Again, these things are going to take time. Congress has got a lot of other stuff to do. That's, we may be able to slip some of this language in other bills and just get it changed, just to push stuff down the road. The other thing for us is representation. Title 39 currently is vague. The NAPS lawsuit notwithstanding, which who knows what's going to happen with that. We'd rather tighten up that language in Title 39, and then we could get out of the lawsuit. We wouldn't care. We're not the only part of the lawsuit that we're interested in is the representation, who represents who up at headquarters. So yeah, those are the Title 39 bills. That one pager I sent to you, Patrick, is the first draft. Actually, I think it's the second draft. So that will be fleshed out. I did share that whole thing with Doug today, for him, if he wanted any feedback or wanted us to look at stuff. The Peter Pastor is the only one that's not confirmed. I know he's coming. There's no way he misses it, but I haven't actually got a confirmation yet that he's coming. Everybody else, Jerry, I'm pretty sure will be there. I can literally, if I go out of the house here and go across the main road right there, that's his district. So he shouldn't have any problem coming to see us in Arlington. Chris, did you want to touch on any of the politics this week? The redistricting in Louisiana, the Garrett Graves stuff that may I don't know, distract him a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely distracting Congressman Graves. So Louisiana had it actually was not court ordered. It was done by the legislature to create brand new districts, to create a second African American district, centered more or less around Baton Rouge, which is where Congressman Garrett Graves is from. So it has eliminated Congressman Garrett Graves' district. Partly the politics of that. It's a Republican governor, Republican Senate and House down there. But Congressman Graves did endorse the governor's opponent during the primary. So there's no love loss between the governor and Congressman Graves. Both Edmund talked to Congressman Graves yesterday. I saw him today. He's made it clear to both of us that there are court cases against this new district, based on both the constitutionality of it under the Voting Rights Act, that it was designed solely to elect African American representation or minority representation, not just to give an equal chance, but to actually by packing voters in there. So that's like a voting rights case that they're having against it. And there's also a 14th Amendment case as well that they're bringing towards the Fifth Circuit. So Louisiana does what they basically do in the November election is the primary, and then they'll do a runoff in December. So Congressman Graves has a couple months here till probably about June or July for everything to shake up to see if this goes to court, if there's a fair decision in his favor. And he has to decide what to do. Right now, if nothing changes. His district was split into 4 different districts. This new district, another African-American, Troy Carter, represents New Orleans. Clay Higgins, who represents more of the Bayou area as part of Garrett Graves' district. And Dr. Julia Letlow have got the majority of Garrett Graves' constituents. So he'd have to run against another incumbent. And so we're watching that closely, but it's going to distract his involvement on WEP GPO. But things have now pivoted to more to the Ways and Means Committee. Last night, Chairman Smith had a really big win with 367 votes for a tax and child tax package with a bunch of business taxes extenders, as well as a change to the child tax credit to make it refundable, like it was under COVID. That passed with 367 votes, so overwhelmingly bipartisan. And we're hoping now that Chairman Smith, he's already done one hearing last year in Louisiana at Ways and Means at a field hearing. We're hoping that they do a field hearing in DC as well. I'm sorry, a hearing in DC as well this year, legislative hearing to talk more about WEP GPO and some of the legislative proposals that are out there.
Yeah, it's my second favorite spectator sport is watching Republicans just eat their own. It's like it's bound to happen. So, you know, we're big supporters of Garrett when he took over the bill. I mean, he'd already spoken to us a couple years before that and was a big hit. So, you know, obviously we're going to do whatever we can to help him with that. And let's hope the court case takes care of the redistricting and we don't have to, you know, because we're friendly with Julia too. And, you know, as crazy as Clay Higgins is, you know, he's on that WEP GPO bill all the way. So, local politics, all politics is local, right? At the end of the day. I did want to go back to one thing when we start talking, when we get to DC and we start talking to even before, we're going to try some cross-pollination with all these bills. HR 82 is the main vehicle with S 597. Those are complete repeals. The Arrington bill, the Neal bill, they're all a little different approaches to get to a similar place, but they're not full repeals. And a lot of what we're going to be asking for is cross-pollination. If you're on HR 82 and you're in the right party, let's get on this bill and that, you know, so we can get, there's no reason you can't be on both bills. Because what'll probably happen, Chris or Brian, I know Joel's on here too, one would assume it's going to be some sort of compromise between the 3 main ways of doing it if we get anything, right?
Well, probably more directly around like the Arrington bill, probably.
Okay.
Compromise between the Arrington bill and the Neal bill, probably more at Ways and Means, probably more of a WEP fix only.
Okay.
Can I ask a question, Dave Cook?
Sure, go ahead.
Can I go to Chris?
Go ahead, Dave.
Chris, we going back and forth the differences between the bills.
Yes.
It seems that HR 82 is dead in the water.
It's not dead in the water.
Right.
The thing is that Congressman Graves has said he will not push it to the House floor.
Right. It's not going. It's not going. We have, for the last 2 years, as members of the organization, been pushing this.
It's been longer than that, Dave.
Continue.
It's been longer than that. We've had this language for the last 6 Congresses.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We keep pushing and you know I do. I put it out there and everything. What more can we do to get HR 82 pushed? Or is ADR, should we go on a different avenue?
Not at all. Let me take that one, Chris.
Sure.
Let me take that one. So here's the deal. It's headlines.
Sure.
It's headlines. You got to keep it out in front. So when I first started talking to Chairman Smith about it, it was, well, you know, now it's very important. It's a very important issue. It's a very important issue. the specifics of the bill are much less important than the fact that the issue is in front of the committee. So we're not going to get bogged down too much in, well, we only like HR 82. Well, let's forget about HR 82. Let's support these other bills. But the fact that we've got 304 co-sponsors on that bill
Thanks.
means that the issue is important. And that's where we're going to try and with the cross-pollination of getting other bills sponsored by people that are on HR 82. So it's not like we're giving up on, on that language. We want a full repeal. Now, if we don't get a full repeal, we don't want nothing. So the reason for the support of the bill and the continued support of the bill from us will be to keep that issue front and center.
My question, should we keep pushing
100%.
82, right, in the House? Because
100%.
now they got 306, one more than we had last year, to get it to the floor.
They're not going to use that mechanism to get it to the floor, but we're still going to keep pushing it.
Got to get it to the floor.
Well, what'll probably happen is some form of the Arrington or the Neal or a compromise between the two will get part of the issue fixed. You don't want to get caught concentrating too much on one thing, shoot for the moon and not get anything. You follow me?
If that's our opinion, yeah. Okay.
That's policy.
Okay.
It's a great question, though, Dave. All right. So the things we should be doing now, setting up meetings. We know we're going to be up there on Tuesday. More than likely, unless you're getting a late afternoon meeting, you're not going to see a member. So you'll be meeting with the staffers. Joel historically has always given us a list of. In the past, it was always, here's the staffer that deals with postal issues. Joel, are we going to do something that maybe would be a little different this year with that? Are you just going to give us schedulers? What do you think?
Yeah, so I sent it to Dan a couple weeks ago, but
Okay.
Essentially the government operations legislative staffer, which usually is the postal staffer.
Okay.
And some offices have two of them, especially in the Senate. But Dan has that list.
Okay.
And up to date as of 3 weeks ago. So
Okay.
might be the person you met with last year, it might be a new person. So you'll just have to see.
Yes. So for those of you on the call that are, been doing this a while and you know what you're doing, for those of you that don't, that's usually your best bet to go after the person that deals with our issues just to get a meeting. We are going to spend some time, Brian, Chris, Joel, myself, Patrick, and actually have some targeted. We're going to give you some meetings that we have to have, based on current sponsorship of bills and committee assignments, et cetera. I'm a little concerned there's some chapters that aren't as well represented as maybe I would hope. And there may be some members in those chapters that we need meetings for. So we're going to be doing some meetings. I may be asking some of you to do some meetings outside of your immediate purview, just to get the piece of paper in the person's hand, and have an in-person meeting. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll develop that list and get that to you. I should have led with this for those of you that don't know. The room block is full at the hotel, which is fantastic. But there's still people registering. So there are several hotels around. I know chapters are doing some inventive things to get their people there, but the room block is full, and it's full. There's another group in there, and the hotel will be jam-packed when we get there. So we have over 200 registered, and I'm sure that's going to go through the roof the next couple of weeks. The last day for the $100 registration, I think, is the 15th. And a lot of people wait till the last minute. That's just kind of how we are as an organization. So, I think we're going to make the 300 pretty easy. So there may be some meetings we can't cover that we're going to need some help with. covering that. John Dowds, are you on here, John?
Yep, I'm here. Hello.
So guess what I was looking at today?
What's that?
So we have a PAC manual, like a PAC chairs manual. I think you've seen, we handed some of those out last
Yes.
year. Okay. So I think you and I that week you're here, maybe before, and I'll get some printed, and we should revamp that with some of the new the new I want to say the stuff you've been doing, right? The new implementation, the new best practices for that. So do you have any words of wisdom today on PAC, or you just want a general thing? I've been busy spending the money this week. So
Yeah. That's the thing about all of these initiatives you're talking about is a lot of it takes money. And we need to raise those PAC funds, and it's the key to these initiatives. And contributing to these senators and representatives, it helps keep our voice alive. It gets us in the door. And you guys have seen at national events, the PAC table, and we do, like Edmund will do a 50-50 and that sort of thing. I think more importantly than that is raising funds at the chapter conventions, which are coming up very soon, and also educating folks on EPAC so we can get contributions all year long. So, Edmund, I'll end in 30 seconds, but I always like to concentrate on two things: educating. So I sound like a broken record, but we've got to let the members know that their membership dues cannot pay for anything PAC related. And so we have to raise funds for that. It's very important for those brand new folks that are going to be coming to legislative, maybe the first time at a state convention, a chapter convention. They might be thinking, I already pay my dues. Why should I give any more money? Well, that's why we need to educate them on that, the importance of PAC, and the fact that we can't use their dues money. Also, we're gonna make it fun, just like Edmund does with the 50-50, and we have raffles back at the table. We're gonna talk about that, I'm sure, at legislative about how to take conventions. So here to help.
Yep. The other thing is,
John?
for those of you that don't know, go ahead, Patrick.
I just want to know, John, are you need any help at the table this year or that Monday? If you do, you're gonna have a sign up. People can volunteer.
I don't know that we'll need help at legislative, if that's what you mean. Probably not. Probably not there, but certainly that's when I'm going to start recruiting for the national convention. So we'll talk about that at legislative.
Okay.
Speaking of PAC supplies, for those of you that don't know, our executive assistant went over to the credit union, so she was handling all the PAC supplies. So if you have PAC requests, I've got a couple in hand, especially if you have April, early conventions, and you're coming to legislative, we'll hand out those PAC supplies there. So get your orders in. You can send them to me. You can send them to Dan. info@unitedpma.org is a good one too. That gets to everybody. And we'll fill those PAC pins. The new pins are in. They look good. So we'll have fun with that. And if we need to order more, it's good to know whatever, get your orders in, whether it's, you pretty much know what your last convention was. Just go with that. And then if we need to order any more, we know before the summer comes, before we get to national convention and run out. So great job. All right. So now that's 25 minutes in. Is there any questions? Is anybody having any problems, needs any advice on setting up meetings and what the procedure should be for that?
Edmund,
Yes.
this is Vicky in Louisiana.
Hey, Vicky.
Hey, I'm just starting this year as legislative chair, and with everything going on in Louisiana, I just wondered if there's anything I can do between now and then. I've got almost all of my meetings set up.
Excellent.
But I've still got a couple I'm waiting on. But with everything going on here, do you have any suggestions or anything that I can do?
So you've got meetings scheduled. You've got a confirmation of when it is on that Tuesday.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Then I would just about once or twice, about once a week or once every couple of weeks, I just ping them and say, hey, we're really looking forward to coming. And as you get more information off these calls, you know, it's all about dialogue, right?
Yeah,
And then when you know, we're gonna try and get the one pager out. Joe did a great job drafting the first draft. And then I completely changed it. No, I didn't. I
yeah,
changed it.
that's one of the things I've told them is that
Changed
we're
about
gonna be
right
forwarding those to them.
now. The impact statements are online now. So as soon as they get posted online, we'll have those economic impact statements. They usually like those too. And then, you know, obviously we don't want to share the lobbying report with them before, but those really the three pieces of information you're going to have. So, the other thing you guys got to understand, especially if it's the first time doing it, you haven't done it in a while, it's going to change. It's going to change 3 or 4 times between now and Tuesday in March. It's going to change the morning of Tuesday. You just got to be flexible. You got to work with what you got. And if you end up having to just drop off information, you know, that happens all the time. I've been double, triple booked more than once, bouncing back from background. What you try and do, I see some chapters try and keep, okay, here's our crew. We got 6 people. 2 people are in this building, 2 people are in this building, and that's a great way of doing it. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. It's just you got to stay on top of it. But Vicky, as soon as we get the final position paper, we're going to be sending it out, and people are going to be. I'm going to be more than happy if people share that before we get there. They'll have a nice shiny copy to hand out when they get there. But did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yep,
Appreciate
no
it.
problem.
The other thing I would just add on to Edmund's point, which is exactly correct, is all these members, like they're working on the changing dynamics, but that's for the future. All of those people are still in those jobs now and can help us now. And in Louisiana, there's quite a few people who are very, very important. The speaker, the majority leader, Garrett
Yes.
Graves, the senators can all be very helpful. And they have those jobs now, and it's it's their job to be responsive to us.
Great point. It's a great point. It does seem like ground zero. And
Edmund, can I jump in here for a moment?
sure, Arlene, go ahead.
Hey, I don't have my meeting set up. I just started a detail. Can I visit with somebody off of the meeting to get some advice?
100%.
I just legislative.
Yep. Yeah, you want to call me tomorrow at work? Zoom and I'll walk you through it.
All right, I'd appreciate it.
Perfect. Just give me a call.
Okay.
Edmund,
Mr. Hines.
I forwarded the list of staffers that Joel had sent me.
Excellent.
So if there's anybody on this call that did not get the list, please send me an email and I will forward it to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Dan. How you feeling?
Yeah.
I'm feeling very good. Thank you, everyone.
Good. Glad to hear it. Are there any other questions for Brian, Chris, Joel, Patrick, John, myself? Anything else we need to cover? All right. Half hour. I got you out of here in half hour again. I'm happy. So next week we'll start talking about we'll continue to talk about meetings. I'm sure there'll be some politics between now and then. There's we may have some more more of the talking points and other stuff that's come up, and we'll probably have a roughed out list of meetings that we have to make sure that we certainly get to the people that we need to get to, even if we don't have even have people that are in that part. The other thing I will say on the registration, let's get everybody registered. If you've got people that want to go that aren't registered yet, they're waiting till the last minute to register. I'm going to use that list for all the invitations for the special events. I'm going to use that list for knowing, whether or not we can make all the meetings we need to know. So it's important that you get registered. Okay. So unless you guys,
how many are coming?
unless you guys have anything else,
Edmund, how many's coming?
I got over 200. We got over 200 registered now. So
Whoa.
usually the last 4 or 5 weeks, we 1 year it doubled in the last 4 or 5 weeks. So I bet we get close to 300. 42 chapters, which is the big, we've only got 10 chapters that aren't coming one way or another, which is huge. That's a better metric for me, that we're getting people from all over the country. Anybody else? All right, guys. Thanks for your time. I know it's a lot. We will, we'll be in touch, and we'll talk to everybody next Thursday. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.